What up, everybody? Today I'm going to be talking about Davis MacLean's mystery wife, Marilyn, who we still haven't been introduced to through 3 full seasons, and who I feel like should be cast to play her in season 4, and that is Taraji P Henson. So before I get started, there is always that one person in my comment section who tries to correct me with wrong information. So here it is. I'll save you the time to type your comment. In season 1, that was not Davis's wife. That was his assistant, Paula. Paula is basically the only reason we know that Davis has a wife named Marilyn in the first place. In season 1, after Davis and Paula finished hooking up, she told him, "Don't forget your wedding ring." I'm sure Marilyn would notice. I know I would. Paula cut her relationship with Davis off, both business and personal, when she found out the truth about Davis working with Sachs to pin James St. Patrick murder on Tariq. After the trial was over and Sachs got fired, Davis replaced Paula with Sachs as the second in command at his law firm. The funny thing is, when Paula found out that Davis was working with Sachs and quit, she told him, "If you came to me, I would have told you that you can't trust Sachs." Ironically, trusting Sachs is the whole reason for all the mess he is in going into season 4. After season 1, we never saw any more of Davis's side pieces, but he was going after his fashion assistant at the beginning of season 2. And getting me to Davis's wife, Marilyn. The first question I ask is, how long have they been married for? We know very little about Davis's wife, Marilyn. They have done a good job of keeping her a mystery. The only times I can remember hearing about her is just a couple conversations in season 1 between Davis and Paula. The next question I have is, do they have any kids together? We haven't heard anything about any kids. At the same time, it is a real possibility. We know very little about Davis's personal life, and of course he definitely isn't going to talk about his family to the Tejadas or Tariq. If he did, he probably would try to keep them out of sight. Getting me to, does Davis's wife Marilyn have her own career? We know Davis is hardly ever at home because he is always working. So if she doesn't have any kids that she is taking care of, what is she doing with her time while Davis is at work all day until the late evening? Since Davis has been stepping out on Marilyn, could we almost assume that Marilyn is also stepping out on Davis as well? I mean, other than his brother Theo's story and how Davis actually killed the man and went to law school, what do we actually know about Davis's personal life? We have still never even seen where Davis lives at. Getting me to the question, who do you want to see play as Davis's wife Marilyn if she is ever introduced to the script? Go ahead and leave your pick in the comment section. My pick to play as Davis's wife Marilyn is none other than Taraji P Henson. She killed her role in Empire as Cookie Lion, in Hustle and Flow, and every other movie I've seen her in. And I believe she would be the perfect fit for Davis's wife. Remember how wild she was in Empire? How she used to go around breaking things? If she was hyped up like that in Ghost, that would explain why Davis don't ever want to go home. But Taraji got range, so she could also play as a quiet and submissive woman like she did in Hustle and Flow. But I want to see Marilyn be a drunk who is wild and crazy, who be getting all up in Davis's face and talking mad-ish. Yeah, I would love to see Taraji get on that show and act a donkey. Getting me to the question, is her price too high for stars? I know Mary J is getting $400K an episode, so I'm thinking Taraji's price would be around the same thing, or even whatever Method Man is getting paid would be about right. But I got the answer to all of Stars' budget problems when it comes to power. By simply canceling shows nobody watches like Outlander, Minx, Party Down, and Hills, you got to think the total cost of production for those shows got to be at least 1 million an episode minimum. So canceling all 4 of those shows would open up at least 40 million to go into the Power budget. That would be more than enough to add Taraji the Ghost as Marilyn, bring back Omari, and even bring in my boy Damson Idris to play Breeze on Raising Kanan. Because you got to know, if Breeze is not a polarizing figure, it's not going to live up to the hype. I've heard a lot of people talk bad about Mary's acting and saying Taraji should have got that role as Monet. But personally, I watched the show on face value without judging any acting, and I think Mary J is killing her role. And Monet is probably my favorite character on Ghost, a cold-blooded OG, my twin. Getting me to, why bring Marilyn on now after not showing her for 3 seasons? And that is because Davis has a lot going on. The obvious place to introduce Marilyn would be at Theos Funeral. But I doubt they're going to show Theos Funeral. But if they did, Marilyn would have to be there. I mean, we don't even know who Davis' parents are, if they're living or anything, what they're going to say about Theos Debt. The feds were looking into Davis as part of the RICO case and now have more dirt on him than anyone else. They know he killed the man Theo went to prison for killing. They know he had private files from Whitman's apartment. And most recently, they got him on camera passing a note to Diana Tejada illegally. So with all this heat, we could see the feds showing up at Davis's home and harassing him like we saw them doing to Joseph Proctor in Power. There are several parallels between Davis and Joe Proctor. I got other videos digging into that, so I'm not going to go over all of them today. But keep in mind, we didn't meet Lindsay Proctor, Joe's ex-wife, until season 5 or 6 of Power, after being introduced to Joe in season 2. But we heard about his wife from the jump because her coke addiction is how Ghost got Proctor to start working for him in the first place. But in the same way, we got more and more into Proctor's personal life, meeting his daughter Lisa Marie, and finally Lindsay as the story progressed. So do not be surprised if we do meet Marilyn MacLean in season 4. Not saying it will be Taraji P, that's just a hope. And there you have it. Leave your thoughts, theories, and predictions in the comments.